This is Lou Dobbs Tonight. News, debate, and opinion.
We will have much more on the assassination of Benazir Bhutto later in this broadcast. Presidential candidates today offered their condolences. They also used today's tragic events to emphasize their own foreign policy experience and criticize their opponents. And while most of the candidates were focused on the Bhutto assassination, there was a new effort to question candidates on the issue of illegal immigration. Iowa talk radio stations are conducting a marathon discussion on this subject. And as Casey Wyan now reports, as usual, Open Borders pro-amnesty advocates are outraged.
Radio talk show hosts from across the country are holding a two-day marathon in Iowa focusing on illegal immigration, amnesty, and the state's rapidly growing illegal alien population. As the Iowa caucuses near, only a few Republican candidates joined in. Polls show illegal immigration is a major issue among Iowa Republican voters.
We've got between 60 and 80,000 illegals here in the state.
I always said we need to be a nation with half inches and wide gates.
The event is sponsored by the Federation for American Immigration Reform, or FAIR, a group pushing for a crackdown on illegal immigration.
Nowhere do you see the voice of a populist America stronger than on the immigration debate. It pits elites against basically the American people.
FAIR also released a new study concluding that illegal immigration accounts for virtually all of the increase in Iowa's foreign-born population. FAIR estimates the number of illegal aliens in the state has jumped 130% since 2000. FAIR's study also estimates that illegal immigration costs Iowa taxpayers $241 million a year.
If you subsidize something, you get more of it. And we've been forced to subsidize illegal immigration. You know, the promise of amnesty, the promise of birthright citizenship, free medical care, free education, food stamps, and getting on Social Security.
Some critics accuse FAIR of using the talk radio marathon to demonize immigrants.
Immigration reform is an incredibly complex issue, and we definitely need to have conversation in this country about it, but it is not helpful to demonize and demoralize a group of people and to have them be targets.
FAIR says critics are trying to stifle debate and discredit the organization by repeating baseless claims that it's a hate group. FAIR says it invited all of the presidential candidates, but so far, only Republicans Ron Paul, Fred Thompson, and John McCain have participated. While organizers hope more will join in by the end of the marathon tomorrow, they say some candidates are reluctant to subject themselves to detailed questions on illegal immigration. Kitty?
It's such a critical issue for this nation, such a critical issue for this campaign. I cannot believe that they can take that position.
Well, Kitty, you know, look what happened to Hillary Clinton on the issue of driver's licenses for illegal aliens in New York. Her campaign was tripped up by her statements on that. Many of the Republicans have had trouble because of their past support for amnesty, other accommodations for illegal aliens. It's an issue that a lot of these candidates want to stay away from in detail right now, Kitty.
Thanks very much, Casey Wyan. Thanks, Casey. That brings us to tonight's poll. Do you believe any of the current presidential candidates have what it takes to solve the nation's illegal immigration crisis? Yes or no? Cast your vote. LouDobbs.com. We'll bring you the results a little bit later in the broadcast.
All right, meanwhile, we want to tell you about this radio marathon that's happening in Iowa. It's tackling the issue of illegal immigration, and this is just 1 week away, of course, from the Iowa caucuses. This is hardly a coincidence that this subject has come up now. Steve Brown is in Des Moines, Iowa. Steve, tell us about this radio marathon there.
Yeah, there are no coincidences in politics when you get this close to the first contest. We are in Des Moines. We're at the Marriott downtown in Des Moines. And I want to show you a little bit what's going on in the room, because basically what an organization known by the acronym of FAIR is doing is hosting some radio talk show hosts, both nationally and from around the country. And what they're trying to do is get more conversation on the subject of immigration and on the subject of illegal immigration and cracking down on illegal immigration. Federation for American Immigration Reform has been an outspoken organization in regards to the issue of immigration and has been an advocate for a much stricter immigration rules, regulations, and enforcement. This comes into play particularly on the Republican side of the presidential campaign, in that it is a distinction issue. It is an issue that you're seeing a lot of candidates being used against each other, particularly Mitt Romney against Mike Huckabee, against John McCain, and against Rudy Giuliani. And there's been all sorts of back and forth on on this particular issue. What FAIR is doing here is inviting people to get involved in the caucus process, if you will, or the caucus lead-up by inviting radio talk show hosts from all over the country and from local radio markets to come in and talk about this particular issue all day for a couple of days. To give you an idea of just how many different places we'll be hearing from folks here in Des Moines talking about immigration, this is their schedule, and it's Topeka, Sioux City, Tucson, Arizona, Milwaukee, Chicago, Des Moines here, Bakersfield, California, Minneapolis, Madison, San Diego, Los Angeles, Reno, Nevada, all over the country these folks are coming in from to make sure that their voices are heard on this. A couple of different ideas on where this is, going to help in terms of the immigration conversation. One is going to be heard throughout Iowa, and obviously they're going to get a lot of attention because of this particular event. Secondly, it also gets the talk back at home focused on this particular issue, or refocused on this particular issue, and it is an issue of distinction projected to be a very big issue in the general election and playing out a lot in the trench warfare that you're going to see over the course of the next couple of weeks in the Republican campaign. Back to you in New York.
Steve, clearly Mitt Romney wants everyone to know that Mike Huckabee, he feels anyway, Mike Huckabee, weak on immigration, is for that touchback, go back to your own country, we'll call you when we have a spot open, which was pretty much rejected by the Republicans earlier.
Yeah, and there's another organization by the name of Americans for Legal Immigration, PAC, which is specifically targeting Huckabee most of all, but also Giuliani and McCain for their stances on immigration as well. So this is an issue that a lot of pundits say is only going to get larger as the primary season and the general election season begins, and this is just one sign of just how big that is going to eventually play out.
All right, Steve Brown joining us live from Iowa. Thank you very much, sir.
You're watching KCCI Channel 8 Des Moines, Iowa's news leader. Now, KCCI News Channel 8 at 6.
We want them to come. We want them to work. We just want them to come legally.
Iowa tunes into the divisive immigration issue thanks to something called Talk Radio. It's called Talk Radio Row. Hosts from around the country are now right here in Des Moines.
They're talking to the presidential candidates about immigration reform. Michelle Parker is in the newsroom with that story. Hi, Michelle.
Hi. Talk Radio says immigration is the issue real people in Iowa are concerned about.
We've talked to all the major players. We've talked behind the scenes, and we're going to continue to do that.
This is Talk Show Row. Radio hosts used to taking on tough topics, and illegal immigration is one of the hottest.
I love the fact of coming and being part of a situation where we're really talking about the issue that people are really talking about.
They're talking to presidential candidates.
Don't we believe this anymore?
Inga Barks is from KERN Radio in Bakersfield, California.
We've got so many illegal immigrants draining our system. We have a governor who wants to give them health care. So what we'd like is real immigration reform that would allow people to come legally, allow them to work.
This event is sponsored by FAIR, the Federation for American Immigration Reform.
The federal government isn't doing its job in controlling against illegal immigration.
It's a more divisive group and more negative group than anything else. It tends to be extreme. It tends to make American politics extreme.
Leland Searles is with Latinos Unidos. He calls for opening the door to unskilled and semi-skilled workers from Latin America, which would give them opportunities to be documented.
It means that we can process them through a system and maintain national security. I think the idea of the border wall is ridiculous.
Now, FAIR claims that illegal immigrants in Iowa cost taxpayers more than $240 million for education, health care, and incarceration. But the Iowa Policy Project says illegals do pay $40 million in taxes. That's less than families with similar incomes, but the group says immigrants receive fewer services, and it says that's an important part of the fiscal equation.
Well, Michelle, how long will the talk show host be in Des Moines?
This Talk Show Row goes through tomorrow at the Marriott Hotel downtown.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.